Alright, so anyway, no time travel gimmick today, but we are talking about Israel and how Czech weapons made it to Israel. Now, we could do a video on all the foreign involvement in the Arab-Israeli war. The first one, though. The first of many. But I just decided to do Czechoslovakia, one, because they did it like 4 times. And two, although pretty early in the post-war era, Czechoslovakia was the best of friends. Czechoslovakia under communism and the communist government would become Israel's most staunchest opponent, even more than the USSR. Even the USSR was like, "Whoa, dude, just relax." So, it's like a very funny twist. So, like after this shipment, they do go on to be an adversary of Israel, and you will see like a lot of Scorpions, VZ-21s. See a lot of Czechoslovakia-made weapons, and Czechoslovakia does have a knack for making some good weapons. So let me tell you. Not to say that it was another. Poland did some pretty good ones like the PM63. Anyway, even though the video is about weapons, we're not gonna do a lot of weapons. Quickly before we start, the P18 is actually a Car 98. I don't know why the P is there, but the P18, when I say it, is the Car 98. I don't know why it didn't, but I was kind of pressed for time. So with that being said, we're going to look at the weapons and the weapon shipments that made it to Israel during the Arab-Israeli War of 1948. Anyway, sit back, relax, enjoy, and listen to past me talk in the future about stuff. Oh, right, there we go, because the video is not out yet, so it's still the past for me. Anyway, enjoy. Let me see. So the first contract was signed on the 14th of January 1948 by Jan Masaryk, the Czech foreign minister at the time. Ideology played no role in these initial transactions. They were exclusively commercial. The contract included 200 MG-34 machine guns or machine gewehrs, 4,500 P-18 rifles, and 50,400,000 rounds of ammunition. Syria bought from Czechoslovakia a quantity of arms for the Arab Liberation Army, or the ALA, but the shipment arrived in Israel due to the Haganah intervention, and Haganah was basically just like the ALA, a paramilitary organization in the country that didn't really exist yet. January 18th. When did Israel proclaim independence? Anyway, basically the two paramilitary organizations before the Israeli army and the PLO came to be. The first shipment of 200 rifles, 40 MG-34 machine guns and bullets secretly landed during the night of the 31st of March and the 1st of April 1948. But this was to be no April Fool's joke. At a makeshift airfield in Beit Daras in a chartered American Skymaster cargo plane. The second largest shipment covered with onions and even potatoes of 4,500 rifles, 200 machine guns, and more bullets arrived in the Tel Aviv port aboard the Nora on the 2nd of April, after April Fool's Day has gone. A third shipment of 10,000 rifles, 1,415 machine guns or machine gewehrs, and the most bullets reached the Yusava by sea on the 28th of April 1948. At last, the Haganah command at hand a stockpile of thousands of weapons that could be freely deployed to Haganah communists, even far-right Israelis group, because it doesn't make sense if you're far left or far right. If you don't have a nation to live in, what is there the point of arguing your ideology, right? Not to say, well, that joke came off pretty one-sided, but you get what I mean. Same thing for the PLO and all that other stuff as well. The two shipments proved very decisive. And without doubt, of all the shipments that subsequently reached the Yusava, none was to have a greater immediate impact or even historical significance since the Syrian resupply of 1974 though. Although, alright, so let's get down to the nitty gritty. Total deliveries confirmed from October 1948 till the war's end, which is about 1949, 34,500 P-18 rifles, 5,515 MG-34 machine guns with 10,000 ammunition belts, 10,000 VZ-24 bayonets, 900 VZ-37 heavy machine guns, 500 VZ-27 pistols, 12 ZK-383 submachine guns that were still kind of experimental and being phased out, but the Scorpion is just Czechoslovakia is the arms of Europe. Anyway, 10 ZK-420 Blaze-It semi-automatic rifles, 500 VZ-26 light machine guns, shipped yet not delivered or confirmed in Czech sources, but the VZ-26 was basically the Bren gun, the actual original Bren gun, hence name Bren gun. So this is the one with the straight stick magazine on the top, so that is that. Infantry Ammunition, and this is where it gets really big. 91,500,000 7x92 by 57mm Mauser cartridges, 15 million 9mm Parabellum cartridges, 375,000 13mm cartridges for the MG131, and 1,500 or 150,000 20mm cartridges for the MG151, and 3,750,000 3,7500 7x65mm cartridges for the VZ-27 pistol. Numbers, you know, anyway. Okay, we do have some flight boys in the chat as well, and we do have some aircraft. So 25 Ava S-199 fighters and 61 Supermarine Spitfires Mark 7, no, 5 and 1 is 6. Roman numerals, right? 6 fighters. Some of the aircraft were lost en route to Israel, but the delivery of aircraft began on the 20th of May 1948 and was conducted by the Czech airfield near the town of Zatek. Some of the Ava fighters were dismantled and flown to Israel in transport airplanes themselves. Some of the deliveries were not finished until after the succession of hostilities though. Only 18 Spitfire Marines reached Israel prior to the end of the war by direct flight from Czechoslovakia during Operation Velveta 1 on the 6th of September, somewhere around there, with 6 planes, and Velveta 2 in December 1948 with 12 planes. Both operations were for refueling stop in Yugoslavia. During the operation, Velveta 2 Spitfires were repaired in Yugoslav and were repainted in Yugoslav Air Force markings for the flight from Konavice to Nasic. The rest were shipped to crates officially declared as scrap iron, along with 12 Merlin 66 engines. The deliveries lasted until the end of April 1950, and that is when Czechoslovakia went full communist, but they are good with contracts. If you sign a contract with the Czech, no matter what, they're gonna come true. Anyway, not to say that in 1948 they weren't communists either, because I think it's like the 1947 coup d'etat. But yeah, other defense cooperation and defense, contributions. Czechoslovakia also trained 81 pilots and 69 NICE ground crew specialists. Some of them will later form the first fighter unit of the Israeli Air Force. And on Czechoslovakian soil, a group of Jewish volunteers the size of approximately a brigade, about 1,300 men and women, because we're about equality here, were also trained on Czech soil as well, from the 20th of August until the 4th of November 1948. The Czechoslovakian Armed Forces code name of the training mainly was DI, abbreviation for Donovan Israel, literally meaning the classified Israel. A motor-mechanized brigade group of Jewish volunteers trained in Czechoslovakia but did not take part in the War of 1948. So anyway guys, I know a bit noisy, a bit much in the background, but I do believe this was a pretty good one by all metrics and all fields. Just wanna push out there. Hopefully it's not too loud in the background with the crickets already doing the the birds and the crickets. So hopefully, yeah. Why do the crickets do that though? I know like at nighttime, especially like in summer, they actually do the birds and the crickets, but I think they just chirp. Why do they chirp? I have to look that up, and we'll probably do a National Geographic one. Yeah, I'm gonna try not really branch out from history, but just do a couple of things that are not war related, because I do find myself really wanting to do these big extravagant series now. So any little possible thing that I could do would be like, oops, that could tie into World War II, or oops, that could tie into a gun video. So I will still try and limit myself to not be thinking like that, but I was just like, damn, do I want to do the Angolan War of Independence, or the Angolan, no, not the War of Independence, the Angolan Civil War? I was like, damn. I mean, it could be a mini series in of itself, or it could be a super long one. But I could do it like the Border War. And yes, the Border War is coming back. I feel that might be a video, not for super long, but just enough for like a Thursday or Wednesday. So I might do 80. We left Swapo in the 1960s, so 70s. Groovy, baby. I might actually have to re-download the Border War, my own video. Yep, stealing my own content, and actually do the intro, keep the intro, because that intro was specifically edited on a computer. Not that it was like super fancy, but it was very like to the T, because on the computer, you know, you have a bit more flexibility. With the touchscreen, it isn't really that flexible, so if it sticks, it sticks. If it does not, I try my best to make it stick, and that is that. But especially like with like nanosecond grunts and or excuse me, or like a belch, it really gets really hard to get on into the nitty gritty. So with that said, I'm gonna leave you here now. I'm gonna hope you enjoy yourself, learn something, and I'll see you next time. This has been This has been me talking about Israel yet again, but we'll talk about the PLO and even it out. So will that be for tomorrow or next week? Who knows? This has been a nightly. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so like I was saying, the nightly news would be a filler. So anyway, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed, ladies, gentlemen, and NB. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you next time. This has been me running out of breath, and I'll see you, my little dark age. Hopefully it wasn't too loud, and I'll see you next time. If the flies are a problem, I will remake it, but shh, just to post something, you know. Yeah, I'll explain everything tomorrow, but not today, because, well, it is already getting late, and today is my mother's birthday, so time to celebrate. Anyway, see you next time. I don't even think I have like any mashups, so I don't even think it's like a lot of editing. Probably like a grunt or a sneeze, but anyway, enjoy and learn something. Till next time, learn something.
וזה איננו מתאים לפי המילים. אני הקפדתי